Welcome back to the Comp Closet podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm your host, Sarah, and today we are joined by a beautiful new FMG pro, Lauren Clemens. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I am so excited to hear more about your journey. Like when I saw you on stage, you were just magnetizing. So I'm excited to hear the journey of getting there and how that whole experience was for you. So
Yeah, of course.
yeah. So to start off, before competing ever entered the picture, what did your training or fitness life look like?
Yeah, well, so for a very long time, I've always been involved with sport, fitness. I've always been that sporty girl. I used to do a lot of competitive gymnastics when I was younger too, growing up. And I also played a lot of competitive rep soccer too. So I think the competitive side of things has always been there for me growing up. Um, but yeah, sort of what made me jump into it all was I've been training in the gym for the last sort of 10 years. And I think on and off, I've always had not a lot of, I guess, routine or a purpose or something. It's always just been showing up, train, following an Instagram workout or whatever it might be. And then, yeah, leaving and that was it. And I never really saw any results or, progression and things that I was doing and all of those things. So yeah, eventually I ended up getting a PT. And that was sort of the first time that I'd ever sort of got introduced to training properly in the gym. My form was actually starting to progress and it wasn't just, oh, this is how it should be, because this is what it looks like on Instagram or this is how she does it. So it was nice to actually have that reassurance in person and training under a coach. So he was actually a bodybuilder as well. So that was sort of the first little, I guess, taste for, the competing world. I think that's where it sort of came from. And he'd always said, oh, you definitely should give it a go or why not? It'd be good. Anyway, so eventually I was well, in that process, I was oh, no, 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 it'd be too hard. I'm such a foodie. I could never do the food side of things. And yeah, just constantly doubted myself and wrote myself off straight away pretty much to be no, I could never. And then obviously as time went on, my next sort of like I guess, thing was I actually went overseas and I lived in Denmark for 8 months on a gymnastics scholarship. Yeah, so that was really cool. But over there, I've actually gained quite a lot of weight. So you wouldn't have thought when you're doing gymnastics and all the things that you'd be getting, bigger. But I think I relied on food a lot for comfort and all of the things. But anyway, that aside, coming back home, my focus was, okay, I'm going to jump right into a calorie deficit. I'm going to do some training and I'll see how I go. And I think it was the very first time in my life where I'd actually committed to nutrition and, followed a deficit or whatever it might have been and actually saw results. So that I think then was the point of, maybe I am capable. Maybe I can definitely, do a prep. Maybe I could compete. So a couple of months later, I then, reached out to my coach and did a prep. So yeah.
Wow, I love that story. And it's so cool that you kind of took that little bit of progress to wanting to take it so much further and do a prep and step
Yeah.
on stage. Was there anyone aside from that coach that kind of inspired you to take that leap, or was it purely a personal decision?
It was a bit of both, to be honest. I think because I'd watched sort of him and a couple of other people from my hometown take on the stage. I thought it was really inspiring. I thought it was really, really cool. And I think the whole process behind it was what was inspiring was, being able to show up for yourself and put yourself in uncomfortable positions and, not listen to the way you felt. I think I lacked a lot of confidence growing up. And I think that was really cool to, actually have a little bit of self-belief that, hey, I can actually do this. So I think, yeah, once that had happened, I, sort of did a little snooping around on Instagram and found my coach Tani and I was mesmerized. I was look at that bikini. I was look at all the glam. I was this is awesome. This is right up my alley. This is what I want to do. So yeah, I was okay, Tani, take me to the stage. And then, yeah, so I think that was definitely part of it for sure.
Yes, I love that. And then going into your first prep, what did you expect? And was there anything that really caught you off guard?
I think going into my first prep, I knew that it was going to be hard. I knew that, I think like I said previously, the biggest thing for me was the food. I was so worried about my calories dropping and, doing so much more like exercise, cardio, but eating so little. I knew that my energy was going to, slowly like deplete over time.
Are you saying it was, like, kind of harder than what you expected, or that expectation and that mentality around food was harder than the actual feeling of it dropping?
I think like I knew that it was all going to become hard, but I think like having like, for example, obviously while still training with Tani, like, having those people around me who had done it before, 'cause I did rely on that a little bit just to be like, hey, like I'm freaking out. Like, what do I do? And, just having those conversations to be reminded of, like, it's hard. It's only temporary. Like it's only a temporary hard, and the results and the way that you feel, outweigh that hard, I suppose. Yeah, like I definitely expected it all to be tricky. I didn't ever really have an issue too much with the training side of things. I think like going to the gym and like doing my steps and like I thrust that already. So I was like, that's just a bonus, like sick. But I knew that the food would be tough. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of, like, the mental side of it, is there anything else that helped you, or was it mostly just talking to people that had been through it?
The mental side, I think I was very, very lucky to have, and I still am, like I have such a beautiful and supportive family. And obviously, having those people around me as well. I've got like a beautiful best friends and partner and all the things. And I think throughout my prep, like I was very lucky to have all of those people to lean on, when it did get hard and someone to go cry to, or, yeah, it definitely helped for sure having those people there. Um, I guess too, like when eventually like you do learn coping mechanisms and way to like deal with it and you're like, no, I can do this. Like self-positive talk is massive, I feel too. It's sitting there being able to like, no, I actually can do this. Like I am capable. Like, you're doing amazing. Keep going. Don't give up. I think that definitely helps as well. Because
Yeah.
eventually you do start to believe it, that you are capable and that you can do it. So yeah.
Absolutely. I feel like it does start with having that support network, but then also, like you said, that self-talk is so, so important, but
Yeah.
also, like, you build that proof for yourself. Like, the further you
Yeah.
get through a prep or the more preps you do, or even if you're not doing a prep, you're just, getting ready for a photo shoot or sticking to a
Mhm.
calorie deficit or anything
Yeah.
like that, like, the more you actually commit to what you're saying you're gonna do and, like, you prove to yourself that you can do it and you can push through, like, you just get more and
Yeah.
more
That's so
confidence, and I
true.
think mentally it gets easier, right?
Yeah, 100%. And not only that, like it transpires into everything else in your life too. Like not only in your fitness and your training, but, like in hard situations in just life, really. Like, like you said, build that proof and that evidence that, you are capable to do something. You can do hard. So,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely, like, you grow in that confidence, and it almost seems like other hard things seem smaller or, like, less
Yes.
important, like, when you I don't know, it sounds silly, but, like, when
No,
you push
for
through a
sure.
cardio session when you're
Yeah.
so dead and so fatigued, and then
Mhm.
something else, that comes up in life, and you're like, "Oh, well, that's not really
Yeah.
that hard anymore."
Yeah. If I can
Yeah.
walk on the treadmill or like on the Stairmaster for 50 minutes on no calories, then I can do anything.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. If anyone is listening to this and they just started their first prep, what would you want them to know?
I think the biggest thing is, okay, yes, it's hard, but lean into the hard because I think it doesn't last forever. Like I said before, it's definitely only temporary. And if you it goes so fast, honestly. After show day, I was like, "Oh, now what?" I was like, "Damn, like I kind of miss feeling depleted. I kind of miss feeling fatigued." Definitely lean into the hard and like take it with both hands because it's so rewarding, like seeing the results obviously occur and like your hard work pay off. Even when you do get to show day, like even just being on the stage and seeing it all come together, like it's also worth it. And yeah, just lean into that hard and just really just embrace it as much as possible, honestly, because yeah, like it's temporary, doesn't last forever, and it goes so quick.
Yes, I think that is so, so powerful. I couldn't have said that better myself. So, yeah, absolutely
Yeah.
love that. When your name was called and you won your pro card, what went through your head?
I was like, is this real life? I was like, what? Me? I think for me, I think going into like I never had any expectations of myself. I never had I have to go in this and win. I have to place. I think For me, I was questioning if my physique was even like good enough, and I think obviously, that you want the best for yourself and, you're your own worst self critic and all the things. But like, I had no idea where I was going to fit in the lineup or, you know, I had no idea. So being able to go out on stage and then be top two call outs and then move to the center and then come back and win overall, I was like, what just happened? Like, I was like, me? I was so shocked. Yeah, it was so, yeah, unreal. Like, I still have no words to describe it because it was such a, like, I think pivotal moment of like, hey, like, I can do this. I think that was like really cool.
Yes, so special. And I think like it's funny when you step on stage for the first time or when you haven't competed, it's so hard to visualize yourself
Yeah.
as a competitor. Like, I don't know if you were like that, but I remember for my
Mhm.
first show, I couldn't visualize what I'm gonna look like with tan, bikini, hair,
Yes.
makeup on, under the stage
Mhm.
lights because you look like 100 times better than you do just posing in
Yeah.
your living room with no
Yeah.
tan and no makeup, and, like, even when you try your comp
100%.
bikini on and it's a few weeks before the show and you've got no tan on, you
And
haven't
you
got stage
pale.
lights, yeah, it
Yeah.
does not look as good as it does
No.
on stage, so I think, like, your expectation of yourself will be down here, and then when you
Yeah.
actually see stage shots with the posing,
Mhm.
tan, makeup,
Yeah.
stage lighting, like, you actually look
Yeah.
incredible, so it's pretty
Yeah.
cool once you see, how
100%.
that
It'll
all
come
comes
together
together.
for
Yeah,
sure. I agree.
exactly. Did it kind of feel like validation to win your pro card, or did it kind of just feel like the start of this whole journey that you're about to go on?
Definitely both. I think it was validation in the fact of, like I just said, my physique was good enough, and obviously everything that I had done through prep was good enough. So that was like validation in itself to say like, hey, like I could actually take this far. But also, like I was like, okay, wow, this is the life I want to live. This is where this is what I'm supposed to do. So that was really cool. That was just like yeah, this is it. Yeah.
Yes, and what do you remember most vividly about show day? Was it backstage, on stage, the moments after you won your pro card?
Think I definitely honestly think it was everything. Like I could literally sit here and tell you how the whole day went. Like it was honestly so unreal. Like the experience, the people, everything was just amazing. I can literally remember waking up and packing my bag and taking my check-in photos to getting my makeup done and sitting backstage with all the girls and like having conversations and just everyone hyping each other up and like, just getting on stage and that feeling of like, holy shit, I'm here. Just looking out into the crowd and being like, oh my gosh, like I'm doing it. And then, yeah, just like being with my family on the day. And like, honestly, like I have so many memories from the show because it was honestly so fantastic. Like it was one of the best weekends of my life, genuinely. It was really good.
I love that. Do you, like, struggle with staying present in moments like that, or did you do anything to try and, actively be present and remember that? Because I know I talk to so many competitors and they're like, "I can't remember the whole day, it went so fast."
I definitely try to, I guess, live in the moment, but yeah, like I feel like I'm definitely a bit of both, to be honest, because like things could happen, and I'm just like so focused on taking photos, of everything, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I straight over my head. I honestly think because that day was just such like a long time coming, and exciting and just like fun and like just positive experience like a day. Like I think I was just so in the moment with everyone and just really trying to soak it all in because I was like, this is just yeah, like I honestly like had the best time. But yeah, definitely tried to live in the moment on the day for sure. Whilst trying to get as many photos as I could. But yeah.
Absolutely, and then the week after the show, so the week after you won,
Mhm.
what shifted or how did things shift, like, mentally, physically, emotionally?
I think for the next couple of days, for sure, I was like, what just happened? I think I was still in quite a bit of shock. I was like, all of my hard work for however many months has just paid off. I was like, I can't even believe it that I've just won my pro card and now all I can do is compete in pro shows. When I was like, this is just crazy. Like, I can't believe I did that. But then I think to like post show, like obviously I was on such a high. I was absolutely stoked with like what had happened and all the things. But I went away. I actually flew up to Sunshine Coast and spent some time in Queensland with one of my best friends. And honestly, it was so nice to just be slow. Like the word that I can use, like that comes to mind is literally slow, because for such a long time it was like go, 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 like be here, be there, do this, train, eat, meal prep, all of these things. It was just so nice to just sit and like slow. Like it was just nice. But eventually, obviously, for the next couple of days, I was able to sort of live a little bit, indulge in some food, light training, all of the things. And then eventually, I just didn't stop. I was just like, oh my God, I can continue to eat and continue to do this and continue to do that. And I think being away from home and out of routine definitely sort of didn't help a lot. But yeah, I think I was in sort of like two minds. I was like, "Oh my god, that just happened, and oh my gosh, I deserve it, so I can, I can go all out." But yeah, mentally, I was like on cloud nine. Physically, I felt great. Had all of this extra food in my body, and eventually, that sort of started to like go down. But yeah,
Yeah. And what would you say was the most challenging part of actually getting back into routine post-show?
I think for me, routine, like obviously I had established such a good routine for so long, but I think building that again was hard, because I think maybe straight off the bat I didn't sort of have like a very clear goal in mind. So I think for a long time I've had, this is the show that I'm doing. This is what I'm working for. I have to get up. I have to go to the gym. I've paid thousands of dollars for, my bikini, and I've paid for all these appointments. I was like, it's happening. Like I have to go. I have to do it. And I think coming home and being a little bit, "Oh, I'm not sure what I'm doing." I think that was really hard. So I kind of felt like I definitely fell off track a little bit, and motivation just started to slip. And then I think obviously true with, eating more foods and not sticking to a plan, obviously seeing your body change and things can have a bit of a negative impact on the way that you view yourself. And I think that was definitely tough. And I think, like I said at the start, like I'm definitely a foodie. So I think eventually I then started to turn to food again for comfort. So it was just like this cycle that I was going through of, I'd felt like shit. I was gonna eat shit. I'd start next week, and then I'd fail, and then I'd eat shit, and then it would just be like this, you know, this cycle. Yeah, I'm slowly better now, like establishing my routine and what my goals are, and so I definitely feel like I've built a bit more routine and rhythm back. So that's good. But yeah, I definitely struggle a little bit.
Yeah, it can be so, so tough post-show, particularly when you don't have, like, that next goal in mind. Do you think it helped you when you did kind of think about the next goal and come up with that and start working towards that?
For sure. I think it just like cleared up everything a little bit, because I was very like umming and ahhing about what I would do if I was going to compete straight away again, or if I was going to wait a little while. And obviously, going into the pro shows and stuff like that, muscle maturity and stuff is a lot, um, I guess, more. And then I think that was obviously part of my feedback, was that I did obviously need to have a little bit more fullness in um, areas. So I think like going through and building, through a build phase was probably going to be like my next step. But yeah, I just think because it was so up in the air, well, that's how I felt anyways. I probably just was overthinking everything. But um, yeah, I think I found it difficult, um, obviously, to get going again. But once I did sort of establish like where I was going and what I was doing, I was like, yeah, okay, cool. We're slowly back on track. Now we can keep training and, slowly start meal prepping again. And I think also too, just finding that balance between, like being in prep and eating prep food, and not like having like lifestyle food as well. I think, especially when you get to that sort of like 10 weeks out mark, like your food that you have in prep starts to become very little, like, your food options and choices and things, and you stick to what works for your body. And I think, because I've sort of prepped through like that Easter time, I ended up having like, I used to have like a hot cross bun, and I could, because at that point and where I was, like it was okay, like it was still accounted for. But eventually, like certain foods have to be taken away. And then you get caught up coming out of prep and comp. And because you didn't have that in prep, therefore it's like unhealthy. But even though it's actually I guess, not unhealthy, if you know what I mean. So
Mhm.
I think that was a bit tricky trying to find like, actually, no, I can have this. Like, it's okay to have this. Yeah, but it went on a little bit of a tangent there, but yeah.
Yeah. Is is there anything that you feel like helped with finding that balance and, like, allowing yourself to have those foods while also obviously having the balance of meal prepping and things as well?
I think a big thing for me was the way that I felt having those foods and not, you know, eating things that were going to help nourish my body and make me feel better. I think, when you eat crap, you feel like crap and you feel like, like you just feel like in such a slump. And I think having that bit more balance of, eating better made me feel better. So I was like, okay, I need to, which is a given. Like I knew that. But yeah. And I think having lots of conversations with people too definitely started to help because I think definitely for the first few weeks, I felt like it was I'm the only one going through it. Like I'm the only one that's struggling with food. I'm the only one that feels this way. And I think the more I started to sort of share a little bit on my social media, so many people would be like, oh my gosh, me too. I feel this way too. I get what you mean. Like, you're not alone. And I think that was kind of reassuring in a sense of like, oh, I'm not the only one. Like, I'm not a failure. Like, this is kind of normal. So that helped
Yeah.
for sure. Talking about it.
Absolutely. I feel like, obviously talking about it with your coach and talking about it
Yeah.
with, others who have been through it
Hmm.
or are going through it at the moment to, like, normalize it and find
Yeah.
out what works, I think that honestly just helps so much just getting the thoughts out of your head, right?
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
If you could go back and do one thing differently in your first prep, what would it be?
What would it be? Do you know what? I'm so content with what I did. Like, I'm so content with how I showed up for myself. And I don't actually think I would change anything too much in a sense of like socialized with people when I needed to and when my social battery was was full, I could. Um, but I also, yeah, like I showed up for myself when it got hard. I showed up for myself when I didn't want to. I think I'm actually pretty proud of myself and how I did do my first prep. And I think I have like satisfaction in knowing that I did follow what my coach asked me and I did do everything that was asked of me. And yeah, so like feel I feel like, yeah, happy with my first prep. I don't think I'd go back and change anything. Um, yeah, I don't know.
That's
But
amazing that you're so happy with how the prep went and you obviously
yeah.
put 100% in. Do you
Hmm.
think or, like, what do you think made that prep and show so successful? Was it just, like, listening to your coach and committing, or is there something specific that you think helped?
Definitely, obviously, being open and honest and transparent with my coach and checking in every single week. I think definitely that was a big factor. But I also think, again, support from family, support from friends. I think that was all really helpful as well. Just in a sense of like they would be like, do you need me to meal prep for you? Or it was, yeah, just I think they all definitely contributed positively to the experience as well when help made it easy. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I love that. And what are your next plans for competing? Have you decided on a show?
Yeah, I haven't exactly locked in anything yet. We've sort of come up with what sort of season we want to aim for. I think we're hoping to sort of maybe aim for next year. But at the moment we're sort of just going through like a bit of a build phase, sort of a bit of recomping, I suppose. Just trying to get everything back to normal, regulating again. Yeah, so that's sort of our focus now, and obviously, like, just to grow a little bit of muscle because obviously now going into the pro shows and stuff, like I said before, muscle maturity is a big thing, and like slowly increasing all of that sort of stuff is sort of our priority. But yeah, hopefully season A next year, maybe season B. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, somewhere there. Yeah,
Exciting. It'll be
yeah,
so good to hear what, shows they're doing next year and
yeah.
what the
I know.
dates
I
are.
can't
I
wait.
think they announced them this weekend Worlds.
Yeah, literally, I can't wait.
Yeah. And what does success look like for you now that you've already ticked that pro card box?
What does success look like for me now? I honestly think that success for me now is honestly getting back into prep, because I feel like post show has been so tricky and so hard and so like emotionally draining that, as slowly again, those negative thoughts come back in, and that stuff starts to happen again. And I think for me, going into another prep and like actually being where I need to be again is like that's successful. I think and obviously, like doing well in my pro shows would be amazing too. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I think right now, just like being able to get back on the train and be in that position where I am mentally okay again to do all of the things, I think that's really, yeah, what it's about for me at the moment.
Yes, absolutely. I think that mindset of like being committed to the process and focusing on the process and then the outcome will kind of come from that is so
Yeah.
powerful. And I feel like that's why you were so successful in going pro in your first show. And like you'll be obviously successful in the future as well because you have that mindset of just focusing on that process and being honest with your coach and just going
Yeah.
through those motions. And that's like really all there is to
Yeah.
it.
Thank you. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So, where can people find you online to follow your journey or reach out and ask anything about competing or where you're at now?
Yeah, definitely. I'm predominantly on Instagram, and my at is prep with Loz. So yeah, that's pretty much where I'm mostly sharing my journey and actively posting and all the things and answering any questions that anyone has. But yeah, that's where you can get me.
Amazing. Do you have any last minute pieces of advice for any competitors that are listening to this?
Pieces of advice. Like I said before, just lean into the hard, like it's only temporary. I think that's one of the biggest things, honestly. It doesn't last forever. Um, yeah, I think the big day, like show and all the things are just the cherry on top. Like, you've done all this hard work and you've committed to showing up for yourself, and um, you know, you've proved to yourself that you're capable. I think, yeah, seeing it all come together on show day is just such a bonus. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'd have to say.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you so much for having the time to come on and chat to
Of
me and
course.
tell everyone about your journey and your tips and advice. I think it is so, so inspiring. And like I said, you're going to go so far on the pro stage. I'm really,
Thank you.
really excited to see what you do next.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
No worries. This has been
Been
so
great.
fun. And thank you
Yeah.
so much to everyone listening as well. If you could share this to your stories, tag Lauren, tag the comp closet, tag me. We'd love to see what you're up to when you're listening or what you picked up from the episode. And also don't forget to follow on the platform that you're listening to it on. And also like this episode as well. It really does help us to grow and get on more incredible guests like Lauren. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye.